We thought something really special is happening here. The Tour de France is 3 weeks, and that's 3,500 Ks. In 4 weeks, he's done 4 tours. That's just so far beyond what anyone thought was even possible. I don't think anyone's even going to try after this point.
Ngay wain bagangul, ngay wain yin bagangul, ngay wain barabarangul, ngay wain bunbal bagangul garuda, yurga dalibawan midiwarda, milumba mungalawarga gunda gunda, minawarga duruwa ganidin, minawarga yurga Magarain Dawara Mayain Jajawanda Ganida Dumba Main Darua Dumba Main Midiwar Yuraga Dawara Balia Barabarada Mayain Janbaboon Dumba Main Midiwar Milumba Mungalawarga Gunda Gunda.
Just looking at it. Unless you're here and you see what these roads are like, what this country is like, the setting, the climate, you can't understand it. You take it out of the context and put it like this many kilometres, it doesn't mean anything. Australia it's huge. And it's so wild to just like leave somewhere and ride all the way around, just fanging it. I was kind of always just like bouncing ideas off Rachel.
Lach tends to downplay a lot of the stuff he does.
We're from here, and through that just kind of started looking at what the big lap of Australia looks like.
When he just said like, let's do Oz, in my mind it probably wasn't like clear to me at that point that we were gonna do, he was gonna do all of it.
Anything in Australia in scale is always epic, you know, it's a big country, it's long distances between towns.
I'm the one that probably gets the most nervous about him doing this stuff, so he has to really like, you know, gingerly keep feeding me information, you know, just keep buttering me up.
So what is considered a lap of Australia on a bike? It's 14,200 kilometres, and you need to hit a number of towns that are on the coast to qualify as like a route.
It just got to the point where I would be asking questions like, so wait, how many Ks are you going to do a day? I'd be like, just between, 200 to 400, we'll see.
The current record is 37 days. You need to be doing at or around 400 kilometres every day, and that would take you over 35 days. The longest race by a long way that I normally do during the year is 200 miles, and that's a huge day out. So it's 250 miles every day for over a month.
So yeah, I think it's been a slow burn of realising how big it is.
I think it's been awesome that like everyone I'd hoped to be able to make the trip has been able to make it. Obviously Rachel's coming, my wife, which I'm super excited to have her, you know, like here and part of it.
I never get to like really be involved in these trips because he's always done unsupported. So the idea that I could come along for it, the whole thing, that was like, yeah, let's do it, let's go. And then I mean, we're also talking about like having kids and things like that. So this might be like, you know, one of the last big epic things we get to do.
Tom Hopper is coming. They say he's like my mechanic, but it like does everything for me.
My relationship with Lachlan, how would I describe it? I would say it's more friends, really. We are friends. We're definitely more friends than coworkers. We're probably labeled coworkers, but yeah, definitely friends. This obviously is going to be the longest endurance event that he's ever done. I've been to quite a few Grand Tours. This definitely doesn't compare to anything that I've been a part of. Duration, you know, trying to describe it to somebody, you know, 400K a day for 35 days straight, it's sort of unreal. And I think once we get a few days into the motions and figuring out like your feed schedule and how many Ks we're doing, stuff like that, we'll be able to have a better understanding of like where everyone kind of fits in.
We've got Graham Sears. He was my first coach. He's the guy who taught me everything I know about bikes. So from the age of about 8, as kids, we spent a lot of time with Graham and his partner Athley, who's also coming along. And yeah, like together they were kind of like a second set of parents, I think.
I got a phone call from him 2.5 months ago, and the rest is history. He said what he was doing, and he said, would you like to be on the crew? You're my first pick. Well, no, I was very chuffed by that, and I said, yeah, I'm on. Or you get a feed between Banner and Lennox if you go that way, or you go...
I think having a crew of people there sharing it with you is just going to enrich that whole thing. You know, we get to share it all together. That goes for good and bad moments, you know, because there are going to be a lot of just hard things and tough and just like ugly things, you know, because that's also part of it. 4 a.m. start. So I think I'll get up at 3:15. And then I've just got to get to the lighthouse here so I can just ride from home. Yeah. We're in Port Macquarie, Australia, and hopefully we'll be back here in less than 37 days, having ridden around the whole of the country. Above all, to just have like a lifelong experience. Having seen more, having experienced more, and understanding where I'm from more completely.
Memories go back to the Morton place out at Rawdon Island when he had a trike with a front wheel on it, which was rubber, and back wheels that were nylon, and he used to ride it around the bottom of the property on, and then slide the back end in and out around on this little trike. I don't really think about the achievement. I think about the safety and the risk management. So I see that as the biggest challenge, getting to each point and doing it safely. But the actual ride, I think we just have to adjust everything as we go ahead based on his ability to recover each day.
Not bad with the headwind. I'm cranking along. It's like a classic endurance day where you like get going in the dark, and then it was like cold, so like I had to kind of come back from that, and then you get into your groove and you're cranking and you're like, oh yeah, and then it starts to get hard, like, you know, because it's like it gets long. And you remember what it's like to ride for like longer than 10 hours. Because I'm here at like 7, I could probably start half an hour earlier, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'll still be able to sleep like 6.5, 7 hours probably. Australia is like the perfect landscape and backdrop for this kind of ride. The changes are all incremental, and to see these shifts, you have to travel long distances. It's good. I kind of like the early morning starts too. Yeah, it's nice. You get out there and it's just quiet, you know?
We've got a...
Yeah, it can be a bit stressful when he goes and does this kind of stuff, because he goes, you know, sometimes he's going like 2 days without sleeping. A lot of it's kind of unknown because I've never been able to be this close to him while he's doing this stuff, but I'm looking forward to being able to be more involved. I'm just like ready to help out in any way I can, and I think it would just be like a really nice, like we'll be able to like share some of these experiences now.
I'm Robbie, my husband Richard, and we're from Sunshine Coast, and we're just on our way home. We'll be home day after tomorrow, and it's been lovely. And our trusty old Kombi, which is 52 years old, has gone everywhere from the top part, well, Gulf of Carpentaria, to the bottom of Tasmania and all points in between. We learn what an incredibly diverse place Australia is, from, you know, red desert, rainforest gorges, mountaintops, oceanside. It's so incredibly diverse.
So we're blessed to live in Australia.
Watch the traffic. That would be my main fear for him.
And encourage him.
Yeah. And we'll, now that we know what he's doing, we'll pray for him. So tell him that this crazy pair of oldies from the Sunshine Coast are praying for him.
Yesterday was a pretty big day in the office, 480k. Where are we now? I don't know the name of this place. I know we're just out of Mackay, about 100k south of Mackay. The early days of the days where your body, or Lach's body, is actually acclimatising and settling itself into the challenges that it's having.
Where are we stopping next?
How many K do you want to go? Tell me how many K you want to go.
Yeah, another 150?
The first week, he was tight.
Probably a good idea.
You're tired, I just tried to just make him relax. Still, you got to think about how many more K. Even though he's ridden 20 hours, he's still probably thinking about the next day and what he's got to cover. So I tried to get him away from that.
Thank you.
Give me a little bit of paper towel, please, Gordon.
Just keep it well.
Yarraboro.
Marlborough, that's where we were.
No, it's a Y.
Yellowborough.
Looks like it's like kangaroo, but with a Y.
Oh, Yellowborough. Oh, Yellowborough, mate.
Oh, yeah, Yellowborough, mate. Yeah.
I think we're all like aware that he's like capable of doing this kind of stuff, but he's doing it with such good spirits, you know? Like, even though I know he's starting to hurt.
The man who's done the record has done a great ride. We're already experiencing that because of how much physically tough it is and logistically tough it is. So I think to beat his record, Dave, is going to be a real challenge.
So far, so good. The most things I'm worried about is just anything happening to Lach, so knock on wood.
When I heard he's riding all the way to Mount Isa from Townsville, I drove a lot of times backwards and forwards from Townsville and Mount Isa. It's 9.5 hours, 10 hours. I drove a lot of times, even trucks backwards and forwards with acids and chemicals. So the road itself is a hard road. You just don't know you're gonna bloody face a Brahman bull standing in the middle of the road, or you're gonna see bloody pigs running towards you in the middle of the road. You know, road trains shake the barrel out of you when they go past you. They're not small, they're 50 meters long. Cars get thrown off the bloody side. So it's a different story. His legs are gonna be pumping, he's gonna have atmosphere, he's gonna have weather against him, he's gonna be hot and humid and cold. They say madness. Drive it and see it. Your bum will be sore. This guy is riding it. It's not a cup of tea, it's like craziness times 2.
two. There was like two with how many?
4 people.
4 people.
Yeah, and then 1 single room left.
Yeah, so 2, sorry, S, R, 2. And then Friday.
We've got Warrangoota Dally Waters.
So ending in Dally Waters?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a shorter day, which isn't probably be appreciated. We're going to unknown territory. So like, for example, where we're going today, Prairie and Cloncurry, they've got a Beat the Heat festival on, which is bringing in thousands of people, and everything's booked out. So we've already rung and done some logistics on the distances, noting that some of the days we've got to bring the distance down so that Lach can have a rest day endurance-wise. We just asked a lady in the pub about what's going on up Northern Territory, and she said it's 40+ degrees days up there at the moment. So that's another thing to take into consideration when we look at a 484k day.
Mate, I can't even, I don't know what's going on here.
No, that's actually neater than what it should have been.
Show them. This is the plan, all right? Get in or get out.
Look at this coming in. Want any food, mate? Food? What would you like? Savoury?
Yeah, I'm going. Going and going and going. It's these roads are so straight. Crusty. Yeah, I'm alright. Oh, that's it. That's what I need. Wow. Let's get this in the rotation.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's fresh.
No, that's the safe space. Took them out of the bags.
Safe travels!
You know when you're sleeping and you wake up and you're just like, oh. Yeah, right here in the knees.
Like an old wives' house.
It's true. I had growing pains last night.
I describe Mount Isa as one of the most beautiful places in the world. I said, I always say I would never be anywhere else. We've got the bush, we've got the country. I've lived here most of my life. I was born here, generations born here, traditional owner for this country. So this is the most beautiful place, I would say, in the world, not being biased. Kalkadoon people have been here on this country forever. They were the only tribe to fight for resistance for their country, and they did in a great battle at Battle Mountain outside near Kajabi. My great-great-grandmother was one of the survivors as a baby of that. I take my hat off to him because it's hard enough to drive a car from here to town, so never mind ride a bike. You know, just I think take all that scenery in because it's really good for our own mental health and it's good for our well-being to be in the country. But the sun is very scorching at the moment, so a lot of water. If you can't do it, you just say you can't do it, don't keep going.
Even though you don't like the shorter day, it doesn't mean the week's... So if you look at that week as a short day, it's actually only 190k shorter than your first week.
Yeah.
And the hard part is when you're doing what you're doing, I imagine you'd hate a rest day because you're thinking, I've got to be out there.
Well, you know you still got to do the rides. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
They don't ride themselves.
That's the way I think, but that doesn't mean I'm right. And that's why I'm really open to all conversation. But tactics is tactics.
Yeah.
Hitting it out just for the sake of it.
I mean, my experience with doing these is it's like, if you feel good,
go.
Hello.
I just come to get Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah?
Just grab a bit of Wi-Fi. How you going?
Would you like a beer?
How's the Achilles?
It's sore, but it doesn't bother me when I'm riding, you know. But to touch it's sore. You can see it's kind of like inflamed.
It's a bit swollen.
Yeah.
But that's understandable.
Yeah. The initial part of the ride is getting the body to a spot where you can ride as pain-free as possible, which is nice because you kind of do that for half an hour in the dark or something, and then you already feel stoked once you can pedal and just be pain-free or somewhat pain-free, and then you're like, okay, and then but at that point you look around and you're like, holy shit, look at all the stars, look at where this is wild, you know, and then you see a road train coming from 5k's down the road and oh shit, we're out here.
This was going to be the stop. We just went and cancelled the rooms.
Too early.
We just went and cancelled the rooms.
Oh, were they off?
Nah, they were really happy actually.
Wind's blowing, what has been up until now, perfectly tailwind. So you can cover a lot more ground for the same amount of effort. Plus today I feel good, so I knew once I got up and started riding, I was like, oh, it's tailwind. So I was like, we can cover a lot of ground today. It's midday and we've already done 450 Ks. So it's like, we might as well just keep cranking.
So do you guys drive the Stewart Highway much? I live in Darwin and work halfway between Katherine and Mataranka, so I drive it fairly regular. So it can be quite dangerous certain times of the year. You get the buffalo around, you come across a few donkeys. The roos are everywhere this time of year.
Really, like, probably your best advice I'd give someone is, like, just don't drive at night.
You have a look at the number of cars on the side of the road. There's a Mitsubishi on the rocks up over there, and there's like 100, 200 metres off the side of the road on top of rocks facing the opposite way. How the f*** you get there, mate? Whether you swear from a buffalo or fell asleep, or whether he was drunk, who fucking knows, but he's way up over there. When it happens to yourself, yes it has, you can see how that happened, mate. It's only a matter of bloody ripping on that wheel, grabbing the bitumen, you're facing the opposite way, and you're still going that direction. It all happens fairly quick, and especially on some of the roads around the territory. He's a crazy Get a motor in it, mate.
When you're like thinking of riding around Australia, it's the remote, harsh nature of it that's somewhat appealing, I think, and it's also the unknown that like draws you in. But then it's kind of like tinged with this reality of like, holy shit, I need to cross all of this on my bike. It's hot, there's no shade, it's dry, and the roads are really straight. Through the course of the day, you're going to just continue to deteriorate, and it's going to get exponentially more difficult. Things aren't really going to change. You have to keep pedaling.
Big day, jeez. 582, 36 and a half average. Oh, somebody's ready.
I'm ready.
Somebody's ready to go swimming.
Oh, you are?
Follow her to the pool.
This summer I went swimming.
He got up this morning, well, at 1:30, had some breakfast, felt nauseous, and we've just found him at a servo and he's been vomiting. He's not well. So, yeah.
He just took off. He wanted to just keep rolling. We gave him just water when he left. He didn't eat anything.
He wants us to keep rolling. He wants to keep rolling to the next town, which is about 90 kilometres away. Larrimah.
So now what happens is it goes through your head as someone looking after him. Do we listen to him and do what he's asked us to do, or do we say, nah? So my mind's telling me no. When you're unwell, you need to, particularly when you've still got a target in your mind, we've got to be around, we've got to hover, and we're going to go up the road now, about half hour up the road, which is going to give us about 35k on him.
He wanted to do another 100 Ks and then we'll just take it from there. So I honestly don't think he's going to stop for the day at 100 though, because it's so early in the day, just knowing luck, we'll push on.
Anything else you'd love right now?
How far to Catherine? 180? No, to...
He's just set his mind to doing something. There's just really no convincing him otherwise. I think the more that we ask him to stop or take it easy, the more he'll resist that. So you kind of have to just be a bit gentle with the approach and just
not leave him alone, but just let him do his thing, and then just gives him support, but not in like a really pushy way, because he won't take it.
Occasionally you'll just have that like holy shit, like how are we gonna manage to do this for like another month?
Once you're in the mindset of like pushing to do a record attempt, there's a part of me that thinks you need to like really pour yourself into it to do it justice. It's supposed to be hard and uncomfortable. It's not about like setting a record that's like as fast as possible, but it's about putting that effort like into that thing that does it justice, you know, because I'm sure everyone who's done this has kind of taken himself to that spot.
I born in Yundumu, Wichita Valley Spring, and I did it 1956. When we was little girl, we grow up in the desert country. When we might be like we was like 20 or 21 years old, we just come here to the local country, you know, and it's a big city. Town was a little city before, way back in the 90s. Everybody used to camp around here, everywhere. When I moved here, a single woman, I was happy painting canvas. Around Australia, they called me Auntie, but I was still painting in the gallery. They don't call my name. Nobody calls. They don't come and ask me, what's your name, what's your name? Now they just come and say hello for me, Auntie, hello. I want to teach them all the children. Then when they grow up, they can sit down and paint the canvas. They'll be really happy when they paint the canvas.
That's why I got going early this morning to try and beat the heat, but I'm kind of over the super long nights, to be honest.
Want to mix it up?
Yeah. It just gets like the last 3 hours, you're just like, it's just mentally, there's nothing, yeah, I don't know, you know what I mean? There's only so many podcasts you could listen to. Just like, it's just dark, I can't see. You can't really tell what's going on.
How many missing persons podcasts are you through at this point?
I have to ease up on that.
Do they have a bit more, a little extra bite to them when you're in the middle of the night listening to them?
Yeah, I stopped listening to him yesterday because I just had a sinister feel.
He shaved because he woke up and just said, I feel old. So we just needed something to do to, I guess, feel a bit more fresh and youthful. Like, generally, it's okay. I think his body, he sometimes looks really swollen. Anytime he's off the bike, he's got like a bit of a hobble. You know, he's just like stiff to move, stiff to get up, that kind of thing, yeah.
So brave.
So since Darwin, I'd say the pavement's gotten a lot harsher. The ride seems a little bit slower for him. He keeps questioning whether the pavement is good or bad. It seems like the wind, we had a bit of headwind leaving Darwin. We're doing quite a bit more hours at night. So he's been leaving anywhere from 10:30 to 11:30 and really capitalizing on that ride during the night. Just because the heat's been, I think we saw 36, 37 yesterday, and he's just roasting in the sun. So he's riding anywhere at this point from 14 hours riding time to 18 hours riding. I've never seen anything like this. And now we're in Western Australia. It seems a lot greener here. I don't think that's gonna last very long.
I'm in Australia since December. I'm 26 years old and I ride with this beautiful Royal Enfield Himalayan. I wanted to be happy alone, and that's why I decided to do my trip alone. And you know, at a moment in your life, sometimes you don't know what to do and you are a bit lost. And traveling is the best way to find yours. And I think about your crazy guy with the push bike. Sometimes, yeah, distance are really long and you can get a bit bored. So yeah, with the push bike, I think your mate is really crazy as f***.
Have you got a little bit crazy riding those big distances?
I sing alone, I talk to myself alone, I dance. If you follow me sometime, I can dance alone on my bike, alone. My advice will be that you have to go and continue, but I think he is more motivated than me, so I think he has to give me advice instead of the contrary.
It just feels like it's getting hotter for sure. Like a real dry, like overwhelming kind of heat. It's like thick, like the air is thick with heat, like it makes you feel tired. Yesterday I went to bed at 7 and I was absolutely hanging on to go to bed that early. I was like, oh, I can't wait to go to bed. And then once again, get up at 10:30, go back to sleep, wake up for 3.
Are your feet okay?
Just shoes.
Huh? Your Achilles. Just on one foot or both? It looks swollen. That's definitely swollen. That's way swollen compared to the other one. Put this one in the water just for now. Okay.
beautiful spot.
Wow, that ice just melted. Do you want to just sit with your feet in it for a second? Let me get you this. You're a little zooted. Yeah. Yeah.
Yesterday was a concern. However, because he bounces back so well, and he's been a pro bike rider, you're never going to show that face that, of the herd face. That poker face is something that he does really well. I would say that us as the backup team are the ones that need to advise Lach of what the risks are. If you overcook it on this particular day, despite the tailwind being there, what are you going to gain 3 days down the track?
And as a crew, as the people supporting him, have we made any mistakes yet?
Yeah, of course. They're minimal, I hope. For example, we should have filled up today at Halls Creek, but it wasn't open, and we're just about out of gas, you know. Last night I didn't want to fill the van with water because I was concerned about the water in Warman, and I shouldn't have been, so we're low on water. So there's two things that we've done just today, for example, that are elementary mistakes that you don't need to make.
The original plan was we're going to go to Fitzroy Crossing and end there. And that was going to be a 450 day, I believe, 450 Ks. But Lach wants to keep pushing and go potentially another 100 Ks past this. But the problem is there's nothing 100 Ks past this.
How was his body language when he got in yesterday?
He was a bit pissed. He was a bit pissed, wasn't he? He was a bit of a grumpy little boy. When he got in that ice bath and he showed me his ankle, his Achilles was just so swollen and sore. I think he was saying because he's been on these sticky roads with like headwinds, he's just like using all the power, like pulling up to just do all the work. There's like no coasting. So his Achilles is just so inflamed from just like that constant motion. But his mood always changes pretty quickly. I'm like mad for days, and he seems to get over things in like within the hour. So sick of me like putting sunscreen on him, but it's just like, what else do you do? I'm just trying to do as much as you can, you know, and I can see him wince every time I'm like coming at him with white hands, just like, give me 1 second. And he's just like, get away from me. But yeah, you just try and do what you can. Yeah. It's funny because sometimes I dip into just being so in the zone with what we're doing. All right, yeah, we'll just give him some food and I'll see you in another 100 Ks in the boiling heat, like sure. And then other times I'll be really like watching him leave to go ride in the middle of the night. And I'm saying, okay, bye. And then I just like go back to bed and get a little like pang of just like, this is like not totally ideal. You really are out there in the middle of nowhere.
It's just not really conducive to riding a bike, you know. I mean, you can just see it. It's like 90% of the things you see are dead. It's like beautiful in a lot of ways. At the conclusion of the day, it's like a big sense of accomplishment every day, you know. Which is nice.
And Lachy, I've been meaning to ask you, how did you and Rachel actually meet?
We were studying for HSC, and my sister Emily took me in there because she was like, "You need to study." I come to the library and she had all our old notes. We went into like the study room, and Rachel was there with a friend. We were very like shy, both of us. Just so, like we just like made eyes at each other for like the whole school year. That'd be nice.
Wet.
Just have that kind of stuff.
Well, we're halfway between Port Ellen and Broome. New Year's Eve, 91. I got here New Year's Eve and never left. So I left school when I was 12. I got dumped in an institution and I quit. And they told me, all you ever do is stare out the window. And that's what I did, because I didn't want to be there. So I educated myself and I learnt to fly. And a few years later I was staring out the window of an aeroplane, flying it, so I proved them all wrong.
This morning he left at 11. We caught him at 6:18.
By like 9 o'clock, I think it was almost 33 degrees. And so, you know, in the van, we're just chatting and kind of like plotting, you know, what can he do, what he can't do, what we should do.
Even before he got to lunch, he was calling me and Tom and asking for wind updates and asking what was even further than the long version or option.
We were considering just telling him, hey, we're stopping at 380.
And then at that point, I mean, I think Stevie probably the most is like, yeah, you can do it, like, let's f***ing go. And even he was like, I think we should talk to him. I think we need to say we want to stop.
How's the heat?
I think I'm just used to it now. It's not too bad.
All right. But you did that last bit there where we left you, all of a sudden you're here. That was 17K.
Feels like it's slowly doing that.
Oh, right.
That's why I kind of want to keep on it.
Yeah, I get that.
We'd already planned that we were going to stop for the night where we stopped for lunch. And then he just came in and was just like pretty locked into the idea that he was going all the way. So we were like, whoa, holy shit, he's going to go like over 600. This is crazy.
See you, mate. See you soon. If we had an ideal situation, Port Headland would be 75k down the road, but it's 140, and that's the next town, and he wants to get there. So I don't think anything's going to stop him getting there. It's a superhuman effort. It's just something you watch and you go, wow, he's still going, and he wants to go. That's the thing. It's nearly like you got to put a rope in some days and pull him in. It's time to come in. And that's pretty amazing, particularly after 400 or 500k.
You always want to push, like, to see what you're capable of. That's the whole point of doing it fast, you know? What we're doing by like doing this is expanding people's idea of like what's possible, right? But if you already know it's possible, then you just like stick to what you know is possible. Personally, that's boring. It feels like you're tricking people in a way. It's fun to be like on that limit of it, that intensity of it. That's cool. You know, you're doing something that like draws you so far out of regular life.
He's got 37 days to do this record. We reached halfway point in 15 days, 16 days. He's obviously not messing around.
Oh, did you see that other flat cow?
No, I haven't seen any flat cows.
You haven't seen any flat cows?
Lots of flat cow.
There's like the cow, like when they're just so dry, they're just like a crust. It's wild to look at. There's just nothing inside them.
See you, mate.
Somehow he's able to pull from somewhere so deep to be able to achieve something that is just beyond comprehension sometimes. To want that, Gosh, I don't know. I really don't know, like, what, because like he is so, like, just at his core quite peaceful. So he doesn't have like this insane macho desire to want to do this. It's like not ego driven at all, the way he approaches it. I have no idea where or what he's accessing to do it, but it definitely isn't from a negative place, I don't think anyway.
Over. Sick. I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse.
Well,
imagine if we were turning around now and just going back the same way. It's far. It's like such a mental game. There's nothing to break it, you know? Like the only thing I have to break the monotony of the whole day is just like the stop with the crew. The rest is just like, it's that white line. And you're just like deciding how long you're gonna be out there by how much effort you put in. It's intense, you know, even though it's very simple, there's not much to it. It's just, you're just pedaling. Like any moment you could just be like, have a head full of demons.
Well, I'm sitting under shade, brother, and you don't come across a lot of shade, and I kind of thought, oh, this looks all right. At the moment, I'm currently walking around Australia for Men's Mental Health and Suicide Awareness. So at the moment, I've just gone under 9,000 Ks, and I've been on the road for 235 days. I've now come to learn that the people make the journey. So you can have a very similar journey, but the people make it. And they make it a special place because the people that I have met and have stopped, like you said, have been from all walks of life, but predominantly the ones that have stopped and helped have understood that the only things that matter in life are love and kindness. There's a lot of things walking around Australia that could get you really, really angry or could get you really, really upset, but you kind of have to go, okay, well, that's happening, let's move past it. And it's kind of just that dance with the world around you and that dance with you in that world. And you become very much a part of your environment. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed the soil's changed. I can pretty much notice every single day something about the path around me changing.
We're looking at the wind over the next up to like 4 days. It's not looking great, which sucks. It looks like he's just going to be riding into a headwind all the way into Perth tomorrow. And then beyond that, it looks like more headwind for him. Just means he'll be going a lot slower. Like today, he kind of ran out of time. He didn't even stop to eat.
Okay, babe, see you soon.
He just, everything he ate was handed to him out of the car. So, yeah. He could potentially be doing more of that if the wind doesn't really improve. He's just got to make up time somehow.
The wind's going to be coming from somewhere every day, and pretty rarely is it going to change. you kind of have this like physical reaction to like a force against you, where you like change what you're doing to be more aggressive. Your like posture changes, your mentality changes, and you no longer have control of it. The spiral you fall into is you're like, I'm putting all this effort in, and I have like such a huge distance to cover. You feel like you're going nowhere. It finally cracked me one day. I had myself like a good little cry. This is gonna be hell.
The wind has been blowing for 5 days.
Yeah. Well, heading slightly different direction tomorrow, you know? Turning northward, slightly.
Says the wind. Following me.
You're big.
Nice night though.
Beautiful. The stars are amazing.
No, man.
They're incredible. Carter took some amazing photos of like, you can see the nebulas and things. It's wild.
See town?
That's us, I think.
That's us, maybe. I'm not big on that, like, just doing something hard just because it's hard. But that's what the last few days felt like, the last two in particular. Now we're getting closer to the end. I don't want to, like, get to the finish and think I could have gone deeper or something, you know? Because it's not something I'll do again. So this is my one chance to like test myself. I think we're getting close enough towards the end where you can start to like push your own boundaries a little bit. I don't know what day we're on. I don't know what distance there is to go. And it's kind of irrelevant. And I honestly think that's what helped me the last few days when it just got really slow and really hard, because I wasn't stressed about like what time I'm trying to do or how far to go. I was just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, you know, and this is what's possible, or this is not what's not possible.
I probably just have to keep calm.
You don't want to stop for another food? More food?
I'd like to, but I also don't want to ride super late.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep getting updates for you when we feed you, and then we can just, if you want to just stop, just say next one we'll stop and we can just do lunch, or...
I'm not going to be in a great mood, so I'd rather just do it. I don't want to go back out there.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't know if sense comes into it. From a coaching perspective on this experience, I've nearly thrown the coaching book away because he continues to amaze me with the things that he can do. And now he's not really having rest days at all. We're talking about the Nullarbor in how we're going to do that. So long as that body's good and the mind's good and he wants to keep moving forward, we just keep supporting that mindset.
How's your mind going? I mean, I just want to see what the wind is.
Yeah, I think tomorrow could be the night to just punch through it potentially.
Right. Do you want to wait to see, like, to make those decisions until you see the prevailing winds tomorrow?
I don't think there is anything past that border crossing roadhouse. There's just, I'm looking and there's nothing.
But like, what's the next thing?
Something at 715. Bit far.
Yeah, maybe just book at Border Village.
Yeah. 5:30, that's good.
And then if I get down, I want to keep going. I'll just keep going.
But the next thing's another 200k away.
Yeah, no, but if I keep going, it means I'm going to go through tonight to the next day.
Right. It's hard because I don't know if he knows exactly where his limit is. He just is so set on doing it. So I have to believe him to a certain point, but then there's like this very fine line between knowing, okay, he knows what he's doing, and then going, you need to intervene because he will just keep going until it is done, regardless of what it might be doing to him mentally or physically. There's plenty of bad news. Oh my God. All right, so it's going to be like moderate rain to heavy throughout the day. There you go. It's just kind of moving with you, to be honest. Let me work on a little good news reel for you. The good news is, oh, do you want a little miso? No? Okay. Well, first of all, he wanted to let me know that he's set on not riding through the night. He said it's already like a bit risky, and he just said, I just don't know why I want to like take that risk when it's just not necessary. I think he was just probably a bit cooked out there. So he just, number one, just wanted to talk to someone, and then just wanted to know if maybe it's gonna end. Unfortunately, it's not. So, yeah. I think he's getting more and more irritated.
Before I started this, I decided like I wasn't going to push through nights riding anymore. But then in the intensity of what you're doing, you just start to think like about what's possible. And I was like, I could do something crazy. Like I could probably ride 1,200 Ks or something if the conditions are right. Like how epic would that be? And I was just thinking about what I was doing, kind of removed from the situation. And I was just like, how have you decided to do this? not only is it like against what you'd like doing, but I was like, this is the absolute last place to push the boundaries. The whole idea of being like, I could do this huge push, it's just purely for the ego of being like, oh, look what I did, you know.
Like, do you think 22-year-old Lachlan Morton would have done that? Like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think he has only developed that maturity not that long ago. Not only developed the maturity of like, oh, this is unsafe to do, but now there's other people that could be implicated by it.
I just had the first truck driver actually try and kill me. As you can see, this road has very little shoulder, it doesn't have a shoulder. So I'm looking back, watching, just making sure, and they just didn't move. He just kept driving directly at me until I realized he wasn't going to move, so I bailed off the side of the road. He didn't flinch, didn't move his truck 1 inch. There's no way in hell he didn't see me. If I didn't move, he would have just run me over. Oh, rattled me. Anyway, thank you to all the truck drivers that aren't like that.
When we were in the heat, as a staff, as crew, I feel like we could do something. The last few days, so there's not a whole lot we can do. It's been hard, just on everyone, but under a week to go, I think because we are getting back to civilization, I think everyone's kind of perking up and we're starting to think about how, the last few days.
It is nice to be in that little cabin. It is a personal favourite of mine. The cabin. It's nice. It's like a little slice of home. For 7 hours. Before I go swim with the sharks again. Where are we going tomorrow, babe?
Watertown.
Watertown.
But it's also a big, well, it's over 500. If you want to change it, we can change it.
Nah, we go big all the way now.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home.
Do both.
the big end. Go home.
Go home.
We're on the push now. We're on the push. Okay. I want to look at the route into Adelaide. Because there's an option to get off that highway.
Oh, actually, someone messaged you on Instagram and said something about like don't take the highway because there's like lots of construction and shit. What did they say?
I also just don't want to ride that bit if it's possible not to.
Yeah. They said, please don't travel on the highway from Port Augusta to Adelaide. Lots of major roadworks, duplication, etc., and very heavy traffic.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm on it. Yeah, that was kind of hectic coming out of Port Augusta on that road, eh?
Yeah.
It was hectic.
Hectic.
You know, you're sitting in a van just staring at the road for like all day long. And you're noticing everything. You know the road surface, you know the shoulder, you're noticing everything.
There's nothing else, he's got to be dead.
Isn't this the best way to go?
Well, that just might take you.
But I mean, what's the point once we get there?
I have no idea. That's just.
I'm pretty sure this is the best way.
Okay.
Well, it'll just be worse. Yeah. We'll get screwed.
You gonna go that way? Yeah, no, can't. Lachy, come here. Lachy, Lock.
Called Rachel, you know, and he was in a panic.
Your stomach just drops, and then, you know, he says like, I'm gonna die on this road.
Sorry. And then he dropped his phone. Or he fumbled it or something, or the mic or something, and it sounded like he got hit.
You get to like that moment, and then suddenly you just like, we're so dumb.
Yes, Louie. Just let the ride. Yeah. Is that right?
He's a kid, not me.
So what? Why don't you?
Look at the mud, guys.
It's a little ski, buddy.
From that point on, I think everything sort of changed.
It's just not for me, you know.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to risk my life just to get a record, you know. So yeah, I'm just going to not do that.
Lachlan's needed to get off the freeway and we've had to map these back roads, but mapped it very quickly, and this is a four-wheel drive only trail and it's like riding on moon dust.
I think it's about 10K.
But that's what, how long was this road?
It was 16 in total from the turn. So let me try to figure it out. I think 16 total from when we turned onto it. To watch him have to do this at this point on the final straight, what should be like in many ways the easiest run home, and to watch this happen as he's closing in on a world record, and that he's worn with such kind of grace and determination the entire ride, and watch him have to do this is like heartbreaking.
I kind of started with this mindset of like, okay, I know there's risk here. This is like, it's dangerous, but I have experience. I can try and minimize my risk. You just have this feeling, I've got it. You start to realize that like everyone who's been hit by a car or hit by a truck or lost their life riding a bike probably thought they had it. And you realize you're no different.
And the question is what we do when we get to the road. Like, do we wait for him? Do we go back for him? Do we set up? Do we shoot in the car still, him coming out of it? Like, you know.
Good Lord, here we go.
And that was the only point I think I was like considered stopping.
I'm sorry about that, Dan. I saw you going into it before you hit it. I'll focus on this for a bit.
We all just thought that this would just keep on building momentum, everything's great, we'll just keep pushing huge days to the end. And then you like look back on the whole thing and you're just like, are we not understanding the total like complexity of are we not grasping like the seriousness of it all? Have we just been skating by? I feel like maybe people not in it with us, like just as onlookers, probably think that there's just some very calculated route and it's all very, you know, precise and been thought out and, you know, it's done to the T. And it's not, it's just us all working on the fly. It's all just like these moving targets that we're working with constantly.
What do you think?
I just want to know what the route is so that we can plan ahead.
For tomorrow?
Yeah, just for tomorrow, and just get like a gauge of like just the rest of the time as well. Because you also need to know how many Ks. Like they need to know the route so they can determine how many Ks off you are potentially. Because that's going to, especially towards like the second to the last day, that's going to be super important with timing and where you go.
Yeah.
And then I also just want to make sure we can plan where we're staying.
Bacchus Marsh.
Bacchus Marsh. So if we need to get a route from Bacchus Marsh across to Reservoir, that's safe for bike riders, he's probably going to be doing it around midnight.
Well, we're originally from both of us from Warrnambool.
Which is by the sea.
Which is about 160 k's down. And we're now in the Grampians at a place called Pomona. And I just love the openness of country life.
But we've been coming up here for 50 years as holiday people and stuff. And we eventually thought we'd retire here, which we have.
I just admire the people that take the dream that I'm going to ride a lap of Australia, have it as a dream, turn it into reality and do it. And
the ability to keep on keeping on, because it must be hard. It must be really hard, and you just think, what sort of stupid idea was this?
And for, as I say, not just for him, but the people behind him that are sitting in doing the navigation and driving the vehicles and making sure there's fuel and making sure there's food, and because you can get in a bad mood where someone hands you a coffee and that's too bloody hot for me to drink, and you know, and you've done the best you can, but that towel's wet, you know. It's just, so yeah, so that's all. I admire the stickability of them. That's just.
Any secrets to sticking together from you?
Have plenty of patience and don't become a patient.
Or impatient.
Yeah. Stay patient, don't be impatient.
What's up, bros?
I think with this sort of endurance event, you can't focus on what you did yesterday. You've got to always focus on moving forward, and that's the way we as a team have done it, and I'm confident that's the way Lot looks at it. And we know we've got 3, maybe 4 days to go, and this is about getting locked to that goal.
I know it is hard. Yeah. I thought it was hard just trying to find you, but
no, it's.
You got this. You got this, babe. Take care, sweetheart.
Sorry, I can't hang out.
Don't be silly.
Yeah,
okay, doll. Take care, sweetheart.
See you, mate.
Bye, doll. You're nearly there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tired. Like, you could just feel his body working hard. He is always cold sweat to touch when he's asleep. You can just feel his heart beating really hard because it's just working. His eyes are just not quite fully open. His body's working really hard. Roughly, we've calculated it that you're leaving at 1:30.
I'm leaving at 12:30, so.
Okay. Well, babe, there's just so many like moving parts. It's like a lot of people just everyone trying to do their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, look, like at the end of the day, if you ideally 1:30, if you leave at 12:30,
yeah,
like we'll make it work. But that's just I get that. One thing which is not helpful right now necessarily to you. No, we're not trying to convince you. We're just trying to remind you of what you're doing is like really incredible, and it's having like a crazy wide impact, like wider than any of us sort of ever imagined. Everyone's very proud of you, mate.
Once you've started on day one, the whole thing is one push. Once you're in that mindset of like, I'm moving until I get back to Port Macquarie, and it doesn't matter what the challenge is, because you've already decided that's what you're doing. There's no choice. You just kind of go back to that moment. I did a few times of like, okay, what would my life be if I just hadn't left, hadn't started and wasn't doing this? You're like, yeah, it'd be a lot easier right now, but not better,
In one respect, for me, this was a job we're coming to do. I thought it was a race, right? I think I quickly learned with the crew we had, which was a lot of family, it was sort of kind of changed from being a race to more of just kind of survival for Lach and just trying to support him as best we could. Seeing him, the emotional state at points, I think I struggled with, just because when you see someone, doing something like this, really extending themselves day to day, there's not a whole lot that I could provide at times. And it quickly changed from being a job, a race, to just we're all supporting this goal, and I think none of us really knew what that goal was or how it was going to turn out.
The increasing urgency I had towards the end had nothing to do with getting there to finish to set the time. It was to get there to finish and have the relief of being done. To just know I could let my guard down. That's what I was pushing towards.
Well, this is the longest he's ever gone, and it just shows that he says he's going to do something and he does it. And not only that, but he does it with a lot of grace and determination. He never indulges in the fact that this is so hard. No, he doesn't ever lean into that. He very quietly does it, and he's not looking for that validation from anyone.
Once I hit roads that I knew and had ridden, especially as a kid, it is an incredibly special feeling. This is my home. In the end, it was I missed the crew. That was the hardest part of the days.
All right.
I think it's really special that he wanted to share this with us. It's really incredible, and it's also really hard to describe.
He'd be proud. He'd be able to tell a story about each day. I imagine he would be telling his grandkids, oh, on this day, you wouldn't believe what happened there. A kangaroo came out and ran into me. So he'd be talking about the challenges that happened on the event rather than bragging about the actual time and what he did, you know. That's really, yeah, that's him.
To get off that bike after 20 hours and still walk past you, give you a hug and say thank you. You know, there's no, he is like, it's just this, it's a special quality,
Would you ever do anything like specifically like this ever again?
I mean,
That's more of a question for you.
So your official time was 30 days, 9 hours and 59 minutes. And that is what you get.
That's sweet. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you can get up.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.